Atlanta-based logistics giant UPS is planning to cut up to 30,000 jobs this year. We learned tonight that the company started its reduction plan late last year. Atlanta News First, Bridget Spencer is live from the UPS customer care facility that's in Southwest Atlanta. And Bridget, what does this mean for some of those employees?
Tracy, a lot of people will be affected by this in some way. However, UPS told me over the phone today that they're working hard, working diligently to help those people out. In fact, this facility right here behind us on Marvin Miller Drive will be one that's closing. Atlanta-based UPS announced they're cutting up to 30,000 operational jobs in 2026. We're talking about jobs like drivers and those who load trucks in the warehouse. Last year, the company said they were working to reduce their dependence on their biggest customer, Amazon, and focus on other industries. The CFO saying the job cuts will be made through a voluntary buyout and mostly through attrition.
One was the tariffs on low dollar value items coming from China, and then number two is the winding down of the Amazon business. Both of those lines of business were probably pretty low margin, and so this will improve the profitability of UPS.
Doug Bowman teaches marketing at Emory University and has closely followed what UPS is doing. A UPS rep told us a lot of this also has to do with automating certain jobs.
The logistics industry obviously is going under has a lot of pressures for automation. We see in the popular press, Amazon is very good at giving us sound bites about how automated their warehouses are. It puts a lot of pressure on companies like UPS.
UPS will be closing their facility on Marvin Miller Drive in Atlanta. In a statement, they tell us, quote, all affected employees are being offered positions at nearby locations. UPS remains one of the leading employers in the Atlanta metro area with approximately 12,000 employees, and we are committed to supporting our employees throughout this process.
UPS is a well-run company. I would trust that they'll do their best if they can move the employees to an alternative location.
Although the Marvin Miller Drive facility might be closing, UPS told me in a statement that they're going to expand their footprint of their state-of-the-art smart facility, also located here in Atlanta. We're live in Atlanta. Bridget Spencer, Atlanta News First.